Small groups of traders and trappers had penetrated most of the tributaries of the lower Missouri River in the years following Marquette and Joliet's discovery of the mouth of that stream in June 1673. But their profits had been modest through the French and Spanish regimes. As early as 1714, the French explorer Bourgmont reported that the Arikras, then living in central South Dakota, had seen the French and know them, and the burial of a European trader in an early 18th century Arikra cemetery demonstrates early white contacts as far upstream as northern South Dakota. Traders licensed by the Spanish had also become familiar and were trading with the Osages on the Osage River, the Pawnees living on the lower Platte River in Nebraska, and the Omahas and Poncas in northeastern Nebraska. These contacts increased in the last decade of the 18th century as the Spanish attempted to defend their claim to the Missouri River Basin against growing competition from British traders in Canada and on the upper Mississippi River. St. Louis was the focal point of the Missouri River fur trade, as it had been from its founding as a trading post in February 1764 by Pierre Lacroix Lequest for the firm of Maxent and Company of New Orleans. Its location was ideal, about midway between the upper Mississippi and New Orleans, and it was not long before its merchants were to profit from the furs coming down the Missouri. St. Louis lay just below the mouth of the Illinois River, which allowed communication with Lake Michigan. The town grew rapidly under French, Spanish, and finally American rule, retaining and ever expanding its role as the gateway to the West. It also attracted traffic from the upper and lower Mississippi and the Ohio rivers. As the historian and engineer Hiram Chittenden wrote, "It is doubtful if history affords the example of another city which has been the exclusive mart for so vast an extent of country as that which was tributary to St. Louis during the entire fur-trading period." It was, after all, the base of operations for nearly every enterprise carried out west of the Mississippi River for decades. After Missouri became a state in 1820, one of its first senators, Thomas Hart Benton, became a vocal and influential voice for the fur companies. Indeed, 2 fur trading posts in what is now Montana will be named for him. By 1818, the city teemed with trappers and traders, and the fur trade was the focus of business, conversation, and certainly the dreams of many of its multi-ethnic residents. It was especially boisterous on the occasion of the departure of a fur-trading brigade. Knowing they may be absent from their friends and relatives for a year or more, the workers, generally called engages, and their comrades would indulge themselves in one last grand and drunken frolic. Regis Lucelle had built a trading post for the Sioux on Cedar Island, not far above the mouth of the Niobrara River, even before Lewis and Clark had gone upriver. On October 1st, 1804, trader Jean Vellet told Lewis and Clark that he had wintered last winter, 1803 to 1804, 300 leagues up the Cheyenne River, under the Black Mountains, or the Black Hills of present-day southwest South Dakota. The expedition even passed his French trading house, 11 miles above the mouth of the Cheyenne River. The expedition met a number of other traders on the river as they ascended it that fall, and on their way home as well. Ignorant of the mineral wealth of the West, it was the lure of furs that drew men into the depths of the trans-Mississippi West and the upper Missouri River country. The inundation of the region with traders had awaited the return of the Lewis and Clark expedition. When the abundance of beavers on the upper Missouri and Yellowstone rivers became known in St. Louis, members of the Corps of Discovery related to the citizens of that city what Meriwether Lewis and William Clark had confided time and again in their journals: the impressive numbers of beaver to be found on the upper Missouri River. Indeed, Lewis concluded that they found the Missouri and all its branches from the Cheyenne upwards abound more in beaver and common otter than any other streams on earth.